Deep within a hidden forest that glowed with the soft light of bioluminescent plants lived a young sorcerer named Ilara. She was known throughout the land for her mastery over the arcane arts, but her greatest desire was to unravel the mysteries of time itself. One day, while scouring ancient texts in the scriptorium, she stumbled upon a cryptic passage that spoke of a legendary crystal said to be hidden somewhere in the Everglade forest. This crystal was rumored to hold a key to time travel, and so Ilara decided to embark on a journey to find it. As she ventured deeper into the forest, the trees began to glow with an ethereal light. Each step she took caused the glowing plants to part like a sea of liquid stars, revealing a winding path ahead. At the end of this luminous trail stood a massive crystal floating just above the ground. It pulsated with an otherworldly light and seemed to hum with untold power. But Ilara soon realized that she was not alone. Before the crystal, a magnificent fox spirit materialized. Its fur shimmered like spun gold, and its eyes shone with the wisdom of ages past. The spirit regarded her with an air of solemnity, its gaze piercing through all pretense and facades. "Who are you?" Ilara asked, her voice echoing in the silent forest. "I am the guardian of this place," the spirit replied, its voice like the rustling of leaves in an autumn wind. "And you have trespassed into my domain." Ilara took a step back. She had expected hostility, but there was something about the spirit's tone that intrigued her. "I mean you no harm," she said, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. "I only wish to see the crystal." The fox spirit's eyes narrowed slightly, and it let out a low growl that reverberated through the trees. "The crystal is not for your eyes, mortal," it said. "It is a relic of immense power, and its secrets are not for the likes of you." Ilara felt a surge of determination. She had come too far to be turned away. "With respect, spirit, I have traveled long and hard to find this place," she said. "I seek the crystal's wisdom, and I promise to use it for good." The fox spirit regarded her for a long moment, its gaze unwavering. Finally, it spoke. "Very well, mortal. I shall grant you your wish, but beware, the crystal's wisdom comes at a price." Ilara's heart raced with excitement. "I accept the challenge," she said, her voice ringing with confidence. The fox spirit nodded slowly. "Then listen closely, for your task will be perilous indeed." The spirit then revealed a series of trials that Ilara must undertake to prove her worthiness. First, she would have to navigate a labyrinth guarded by illusions. Then she would face a fearsome beast whose claws could shatter mountains. And finally, she would have to solve the riddle of the eternal flame before it flickered out. Ilara listened intently, taking in every detail. She knew that the trials would be difficult, but she was determined to succeed. With the fox spirit's guidance, Ilara set out on her perilous journey. First, she found herself in a labyrinth filled with treacherous paths and deceptive illusions, but she pressed on, her determination unwavering. Next, she faced the fearsome beast, its claws indeed capable of shattering mountains. But with quick thinking and a bit of magic, she managed to outwit the creature and send it fleeing. Finally, she came to the eternal flame, its flickering light casting dancing shadows on the walls around her. But as she approached, she could feel the flame growing weaker and weaker. Quickly, she examined the flame, searching for a way to keep it burning brightly. And finally, she discovered a small inscription on the pedestal beneath it. The words were ancient and cryptic, but with some effort she was able to decipher them. They spoke of a forgotten ritual, a way to infuse the flame with new life. Following the instructions, Ilara gathered her strength and performed the ritual. At first nothing happened. Then, as if in slow motion, the flame began to brighten, its light growing stronger and more radiant than ever before. With the final echoes of the ritual, the flame flared brilliantly, bathing the chamber in its warm glow. In that instant, Ilara knew she had succeeded. She had proven herself worthy, and the crystal's wisdom would now be hers to behold. The fox spirit watched silently as Ilara completed the trials. When she successfully revived the eternal flame, a look of approval crossed its face. "You have done well, Ilara," it said, its voice filled with admiration. "You have shown courage, wisdom, and determination. The crystal's wisdom is yours to claim." With a wave of its tail, the fox spirit shattered the crystal, causing it to burst into 1,000 tiny lights. Each shard seemed to pulse with arcane energy. Then, as if guided by some unseen force, the shards began to swirl around Ilara, forming a vortex of shimmering light. As the vortex reached its peak, the forest around them vanished. In its place appeared a vast and star-studded expanse that seemed to stretch on forever. Below her, Ilara saw strange and wondrous landscapes, each more breathtaking than the last. There were cities made of crystal, forests that shimmered with rainbow hues, and rivers that flowed upward toward the sky. It was then that Ilara realized the truth. The crystal had not simply shattered, it had opened a portal to another dimension, a realm where time flowed backward and the stars themselves seemed to sing. Overwhelmed with wonder, Ilara stepped into the portal and vanished from the Everglades forest. The fox spirit watched her go, a wistful expression on its face. It knew that once Ilara entered the portal, their paths would diverge. Still, it felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that the crystal's wisdom would now be shared with the world. With a final glance at the fading portal, the fox spirit turned and melted back into the forest, disappearing among the glowing trees. Meanwhile, Ilara found herself in a place that defied the laws of physics and time as she knew them. All around her, waterfalls flowed uphill, plants grew in reverse, and the very fabric of reality seemed to be unraveling before her eyes. Yet amidst this chaos, Ilara felt a strange sense of peace. It was as if the universe itself had welcomed her into its grand tapestry, ready to reveal its most closely guarded secrets. Suddenly, Ilara noticed a group of peculiar creatures frolicking in the distance. Their forms were vaguely humanoid, yet they seemed to possess an otherworldly grace that set them apart from any living thing she had ever seen. Curiosity piqued, Ilara decided to approach them cautiously. As she drew closer, she realized that the creatures were not merely playing, but were engaged in a kind of ritual. They were dancing in a circle around a large crystal monolith, their movements perfectly synchronized, as if guided by an invisible conductor. The monolith itself seemed to hum with power, and its surface was adorned with intricate patterns that shifted and changed with every turn. Determined to uncover the meaning of this enigmatic ritual, Ilara concealed herself behind a nearby tree and carefully observed the proceedings. To her surprise, the creatures began to chant in a language that seemed both ancient and timeless. Their voices blended together in perfect harmony, creating a melody that resonated deep within her soul. As the chant reached its crescendo, the crystal monolith erupted in a shower of sparks. Each spark ignited into a brilliant star that streaked across the sky, leaving behind a trail of shimmering light. The creatures stopped their dance and looked up in awe as the stars formed intricate patterns overhead, spelling out words in a language that Ilara somehow understood. "Welcome, traveler," the stars proclaimed. "We have been expecting you." Taken aback by this unexpected greeting, Ilara couldn't help but reply, "Expecting me? But how?" In response, one of the creatures broke away from the group and approached her. Its eyes twinkled with amusement as it gestured for her to follow. With a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, Ilara followed the creature deeper into this extraordinary realm. As they walked, the creature explained that it and its companions were the guardians of this dimension. Their task was to protect the balance of time and ensure that the flow of existence remained undisturbed. Upon learning of Ilara's arrival, the Guardians had sensed an opportunity to share their wisdom and guide her on her own path of self-discovery. Elara, intrigued and eager to learn, listened attentively. The Guardian spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, the cyclical nature of time, and the importance of balance in maintaining the harmony of the universe. Their words resonated deeply within her, causing her to question everything she had previously believed to be true. As their conversation continued, Elara realized that the Guardians were not merely sharing knowledge, but were testing her as well. They wanted to see if she was truly worthy of their wisdom and if she possessed the humility to accept it. With each passing moment, Elara felt herself growing more and more enlightened. She began to see the limitations of her own perspective and the arrogance that had driven her to seek the crystal's power in the first place. Just then, the Guardians ceased their teachings and turned to Elara expectantly. It was clear that they had imparted their wisdom, and now it was time for her to demonstrate what she had learned. Taking a deep breath, Elara shared with them the insights she had gained during her journey through the Everglades forest and the trials she had faced. She spoke of the labyrinth, the fearsome beast, and the eternal flame, emphasizing the lessons each had taught her. The Guardians listened intently, their expressions unreadable. When Elara finished, a long silence fell over the group. Finally, one of the creatures nodded slowly. "You have learned much, Elara," it said, "but your true understanding will come when you apply what you have learned to the world from which you came." With these parting words, the Guardians vanished, leaving Elara alone in the time-reversed dimension. She knew it was time for her to return home and put her newfound wisdom to use. As the portal back to the Everglades forest reappeared before her, Elara hesitated for a moment, savoring the tranquility of this extraordinary realm. When she was ready, she stepped into the portal and disappeared from the time-reversed dimension. Back in the Everglades forest, Elara emerged from the portal, blinking against the suddenly dim light. The forest seemed different now, as if the very essence of the place had shifted. With a smile, Elara realized that her journey had come full circle. The trials, the riddles, and the enchanting realm she had visited were not just challenges, but stepping stones on her path to enlightenment. She understood now that true wisdom lay not in seeking power, but in embracing the mysteries of the universe with humility and an open heart. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows through the trees, Elara turned toward home. With each step, she carried with her the lessons of the Everglades forest and the time-reversed dimension. Her journey had transformed her, not just as a sorcerer, but as a seeker of truth and a guardian of balance. From that day forward, Elara became known throughout the land as a sage as well as a sorceress. Her wisdom and understanding of the arcane arts grew exponentially, and she used her powers to help others and preserve the harmony of the world. The memory of her adventures in the Everglades forest and the time-reversed dimension served as a constant reminder of the limitless potential that lay within her and the responsibility that came with wielding such power.